If you've never been on a scuba diving liveaboard before, you'll find a whole bunch of videos out there telling you to bring things like it's essential that you bring your mask, it's essential you bring your fins and things, but you don't spend your entire trip underwater. And after being on many liveaboards in both warm and cold climates, there are a few basics that you'll often find in my kit bag next to my regulator. Hi all of you awesome scuba divers out there, welcome to the Scuba Diving Magazine channel, your favourite place for the latest scuba diving news and gear reviews. Yes, if you only pack your dive gear and like a few changes of clothes, you'll be okay on a liveaboard, but you can have an even better time with just a few key extras. Before we get into the list itself, a huge thank you to today's sponsor, Pearl Fleet. If you've ever dreamed of diving some of the most incredible dive sites in the Maldives in comfort and style, Pearl Fleet's luxury liveaboards are designed with scuba divers in mind. From very spacious dive decks and camera stations to elegant cabins and top-tier dining, they combine adventure and relaxation perfectly. So whether you're exploring vibrant reefs, drifting past mantas, or just enjoying a surface interval on the sun deck, the Pearl Fleet makes every moment unforgettable. What I really like about the Pearl Fleet is that they get divers. So the entire layout of the vessels, the flow of everything, the service itself, everything is set up so that you can focus on what you came for, actually scuba diving. You can find out more about their itineraries, their upcoming trips, their fleet options at pearlfleet.com. Check them out and start planning your next liveaboard adventure. And who knows, your next bucket list dive might just be aboard a Pearl Fleet vessel. Dry bags. I bring dry bags with me whenever there's a chance of water. Small dry bags are great for your essentials to protect them from things like ocean spray, from rain. Ideal for cameras, logbooks and mobile phones. I'll have one small dry bag specifically for my mobile phone, and I also put some emergency information and maybe some cash in there as well, just in case something should happen. At least that's with me and it's gonna stay dry. And along with that, another like 5-litre bag or maybe a 10-litre for things like my wallet, my keys, just kind of bits and bobs. Dry bags come in a whole range of sizes, and it's handy to have 1, 2 or as many as you can really afford on a boat so you can organise your kit and kind of separate the dry from the wet. Bright colours make them easy to spot in the pile, and bright interiors as well make it easier to find stuff inside. There are a lot of dry bags nowadays that are just black holes on the inside and you have to rummage or tip it all out, whereas if it's nice and brightly coloured on the inside, at least you can pick something out. You tend to find both heavy and lightweight materials. Heavier material dry bags, they last longer because it's reinforced tarpaulin materials, but they're obviously heavier to travel. We're only talking grams, but still it all adds up. So I'll often have a couple lightweight dry bags inside my main bag to keep things organized and dry, but do check them from time to time. They do eventually wear out. Cabins often have limited outlets to plug into, and due to fire risks, most liveaboards don't let you charge things in your cabin, especially unattended. But when everybody has a rechargeable torch, a rechargeable battery in their camera, in their phone, in their tablet, there's a lot of individual outlets if you're only plugging one thing in at a time, and there may not be enough outlets to share in the communal charging point. A lot of liveaboards will have an external charging point where there's a bunch of outlets, some like alcoves or something, where everyone can charge things and everyone can keep an eye on it. Most gear is USB powered today. So what you can do is you can either like time and schedule all of your individual chargings, or you just get a multi-port charger with a bunch of USBs on it. That way you can charge multiple items all at the same time. Bonus points if you can fit different power adapters to it, so you're a bit more multi-regional, but just be sure to bring one with surge protection to reduce the risk of a fire breaking out. And before the trip, just make sure that you have a look at all of your equipment. Just have a look to make sure that you have all of the right cable endings. I've been on certain dive trips where you just have every cable fitting except the one that you need. A lot of gear today is USB-C, but not everything. We're not quite there yet, so just have a look at everything, but make sure you bring the correct cables. You're often going to be in the sun between dives and very exposed when you're out at sea. Because you're in and out of the water frequently on a liveaboard, you're not going to be feeling the heat of the sun quite as much, so it's important to protect yourself. When you're not feeling it bearing down on you, you're going to spend more time in the sun thinking it's safe when actually it's not. In and out of the water also means that any sunscreen that you do wear is washed off into our reefs, so you need to make sure that you bring reef-safe products. Better yet, a decent rash vest is good to protect yourself without using any sunscreen. Obviously the bits that it's not covering you do, but it greatly reduces the amount of sunscreen that you do require. Think about like the surface journey on a rib. I've had sunburn on the top of my knees because I was just wearing a rash vest, and yeah, you're sitting on the rib, and it was a good like 10-20 minute rib journey to get to where we needed to. And yeah, in that time, because I wasn't wearing anything covering my lower legs, yeah, I got sunburned. So think of that, and at the end of the dive, when you've surfaced, you're waiting to be collected, and yeah, you're exposed to the sun. So you need to cover what you can in a rash vest, and for everything else, use a reef-safe sunscreen. Just obviously double check that it is actually reef-safe. Just a made-up icon on the bottle isn't enough. Some manufacturers do that. They put reef-safe in even though it has no accreditation to it. So do check the ingredients and do make sure they are actually reef-safe. Even seasoned divers can get queasy in rough seas. Liveaboards, they are pretty stable thanks to their size, and the skipper will usually pick the best routes for smooth sailing, but it's still a boat on the water, and some transits, they have to cross some rough seas from time to time. Seasickness is rough, and like looking out at the horizon doesn't help everybody. So even if you've never been seasick before, there's always a first time. So bring some medication in your wash bag. The boat may have some of their own in their own medicine bag, but don't count on it. Don't rely on them having it. And they're not going to turn the entire boat around just to find the nearest pharmacy because you're feeling a little bit seasick. So make sure that you do bring some kind of medication just in case. Those thin microfiber towels are really handy to pack on a scuba diving liveaboard. I don't tend to use it to like dry myself after a dive, but things like equipment between dives. A lot of liveaboards, they give you a towel to dry yourself between dives, but if you need to dry your like camera housing, to open it up to get the SD card out, or to recharge the batteries, or like your dive torch or something to like plug the battery charger in, then a microfiber towel packs down really small. They're surprisingly absorbent, they dry incredibly quickly, and they don't leave lint everywhere. So even if you don't have like an underwater camera or anything, it's handy to have just an extra like sheet to lay down somewhere. Lay it down on a chair if your bathing suit isn't 100% dry enough yet. Some spaces in a liveaboard are dry zones, so you can't enter unless you're dry, so a quick wipe down with it can help you if you've forgotten the towel down in your cabin. And if you end up on like a beach excursion or something, then you can lay that down. That can get all sandy, but you won't. When you're in and out of the water all of the time, you will pick up otitis externa or swimmer's ear. It's basically when water gets in your ear, the skin inside swells and microbes just cause irritation. So an essential piece of kit to bring with you is some kind of ear care. You can make up like alcohol vinegar ear drops. We call it ear beer. There's a whole bunch of recipes online, or you can actually get specialized dive ear solutions, which I tend to recommend because they're a bit more like pH neutral to your ears. And what they do is they help to dry out and kill the nasties in your ear between dives. You can also use pre-treatments before every dive that you put in your ears, and it helps to like coat the inside of your ear canal so that the microbes don't actually get to your skin. The best thing you can do though to protect your ears on the lead up to your trip is not to use earbuds for a few days at least. I know it feels great, but even cotton wool buds can scratch that skin inside of your ear, and that's where the nasties get in. So don't put anything in your ears. A safer dive kit is a no-brainer. A broken fin strap or a leaky mask can really ruin an entire trip. I mean, I knew a guy who ripped a cuff seal on their dry suit on the very first dive, and then he couldn't dive the entire trip. So replacement parts are essential. Replacement straps, especially for like fins, are becoming less and less necessary thanks to like metal spring straps on fins, and like elastic fabric straps on masks are becoming more standard. So you don't have to worry quite as much with them, but they do break occasionally, so do have a look at it. Look through all of your kit, consider what can break and what's easy to bring a spare for, as well as like basic tools. You don't need to bring your entire toolbox, but a multi-tool and like an adjustable spanner can fix some problems on the go. And by far the best thing to prevent equipment failure is to look over your equipment, have it serviced, and check over your gear before the trip and say, that strap is wearing, I should probably swap that out now before I'm a couple miles offshore. There's no sense in bringing loads and loads of clothes on the liveaboard. Most of us just rock the same 3 board shorts and dive tees for the entire trip, but it can be nice to give them a wash once in a while for everybody's sake. Biodegradable soap or some kind of reef-safe soap is very good to bring with you. I prefer actual bars of soap nowadays because they can't leak inside of your bag and ruin absolutely everything during transit, and you can just wash some of your clothes during your trip just to freshen them up. Towards the end of the trip, when you have enough clothes for enough clean clothes for the entire trip home, then everything dirty can just go into another dry bag for the journey home, and that way it's all, oh yeah, that's my dirty clothes, that goes straight in the washing machine. But yeah, some kind of like clothes cleaner, usually a bar, to yeah, just freshen up your clothing from time to time. Even if you're not washing your clothes during a liveaboard trip, it's nice to be able to hang your swimwear and like your rash vest on a railing to dry it before the next dive. Liveaboards, they do tend to have hangers for your wetsuit, but there's only so many, and if they're all crowded together, then the wetsuits and the rash vests in the middle, they don't dry the best. But you can't just hang your clothing on the rail and then like expect it to still be there on a boat. And that's where pegs really earn their keep. Double up the number of pegs that you think you need because of the wind and movement, and check on them frequently. But you can dry things very quickly when they're hanging over a rail on a liveaboard, and it's just nicer to slip into a dry rash vest for dive 2 than a cold and soggy rash vest. A water bottle is essential on a liveaboard. Most liveaboards will have bottled water for the entire week for everyone, but that's not great for the environment. So if you can, then bring your own water bottle. and that way you can just top it up at one of the water coolers. They usually have at least one water cooler on each level, and you just top it up and drink it as you go. Earplugs as well, depending on where your cabin is and who you're bunking with. There isn't always enough soundproofing on Liveaboard for a quiet night's sleep, so if you're a light sleeper, earplugs are nice. A small first aid kit can be useful. Liveaboard should really be having a pretty well stocked first aid kit, but for like small bumps and scrapes, you don't always want to be like bothering the crew. It can be nice just to have your own plasters, and a pair of thin socks can be nice. Some dive boots, they do rub on bare skin. You're in and out of the water constantly, your skin gets wet, it stays that fragile. So wearing a thin pair of socks can help prevent sores, but if you do actually get a sore, it can be nice just to have some kind of plaster just to cover it over. And that's it for this episode. I hope the list sort of helps you pack smarter for your next Liveaboard adventure. A huge thanks again to Pearl Fleet for sponsoring this video and for supporting the dive community. If you're planning a trip and you want to experience what a true, well-designed Liveaboard feels like, then check out pearlfleet.com by clicking on this link. Their vessels are built by divers for divers, with every detail tuned for comfort, safety, and the perfect dive rhythm. Whether you're heading to the Maldives or one of their other destinations, then the Pearl Fleet has a trip that'll make it unforgettable. So go take a look, pick your itinerary, and start counting down the days until your next dive. Thank you for watching, everybody. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, do all that good social media stuff. Thank you for watching, everybody, and of course, safe diving.